Hey, I guess I'm live. As you guys can see, I'm going solo again for the millionth time. No Jason, no Paul. Maybe once we get, maybe if we do a football wrap up from the spring, maybe that can talk them into coming and join us. But in the meantime, they are not here tonight. Um, so sometime I hope soon. Okay. Well, here we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. We're going to start with the WNBA draft last night. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the men's basketball team. Um, then we're going to do a little bit of football news, and then I want to go into some wrestling, both women and men's wrestling. Some things happening there I thought would be kind of cool. And so let's just get started. It's a jam-packed full show. Hey, feel free to leave some comments, ask some questions, and let's have a little fun tonight. Okay? All right. Okay. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 24 hours, it was 24 hours ago exactly that Caitlin Clark was picked number one by the Indiana Fever of the WNBA. We all knew that was coming. Everybody knew that one was coming. No, no secret. She had an interesting weekend though. She flew out to Los Angeles to get the Wooden Award. And I'm assuming to be on Saturday Night Live, she had to turn around and take a red eye to New York City because she ended up on Saturday Night Live, the Today Show, and this morning the Good Morning America show. So she's had a whirlwind weekend. That you know, hopefully she made it back to Iowa City so she can kind of show Lucy Olson the ropes and show her around a little bit. Um, Around campus because Lucy Olson is visiting, and they are Iowa's top priority to replace Caitlin at point guard. And so she was the number three scorer. I'm sure you guys have heard all that or read it already. She's the number three scorer behind Caitlin and Juju. Okay, and if you don't know anything about Juju, she is their freshman sensation who broke freshman scoring records at USC, and we're going to see plenty of her next year because USC is as moving to the Big Ten. So we're going to see a plenty of her in the Big Ten next year. Okay. Eric, yes. Uh, I thought Caitlin did a very good job considering that she was nervous. And, I don't know if you heard the Good Morning America interview, but she was talking about, and you could tell they rolled her out there because you could see her rolling into the camera. But she said right before they rolled her in there, her stomach was all nervous and she was nervous and everything was flip flopping because she said nothing compared, even playing in the Final Four didn't compare to the nervousness that she felt on Saturday Night Live. What I thought was really cool is that she brought her teammates, Kate, Gabby, and Jada up on stage at the end of the Saturday Night Live. You know how they all wave and everything. But would you guys agree with me that Saturday Night Live is not what it used to be? Honestly, I didn't find some of those jokes too funny. Although the ones that Caitlin said she wrote, which I'm sure the writers wrote, were funny, you know? So anyway, I thought, that girl had been under a lot of pressure this year, everywhere she went, and hats off to her for keeping her composure most of the time. We know there was one game where she lost her composure a little bit, but she got it in check. Yeah. Um yeah. Okay, that's the first time. Eric says that's the first time I've watched Saturday Night Live since Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd were on it. Yeah, that's pretty much the same for me. Um, that's why I said, because I used to watch that show. It used to be 90 minutes, and you just be laughing your head off from the time it started till the time it stopped. I personally, everything I watched on that, I watched the whole show. I wasn't impressed with some of those skits and stuff. But I do like that weekend update, how they put a little humor into it, a little humor into some of those stories. So that's pretty cool. All right. Eric also wants to know, do I think we have a good chance to get Lucy Olson? I think it depends what the Swarm and her work out. I really do. I can't see how she cannot want to come here. I mean, the environment, the culture, the people, the teammates, and especially, I would think that if they could got Caitlin back to Iowa City in time for that visit, and Caitlin show her around a little bit and introduce her to people, I think that would seal the deal. And to me, you know, yeah, I hope more people done join too. I advertised it, so we'll just see if more people come. They usually pop in and out during the show. But anyway, you guys all know, I wasn't 100% surprised when Kate Martin got picked. I was surprised that she got picked as early as she did, 18th, with the two-time defending champion, the Las Vegas Aces. I mean, basically she came for support. I think she was kind of hoping that she would get drafted. But the mock drafts that I saw had her in the mock draft, but the very last person chosen, and that very last person chosen would have been, if she was, I believe the very last pick went to the Fever. So Kate could have been on the Fever with Kate, but you know how hard it's going to be for her to stick on the team. You know, um, let's talk about like Sam Logic, Megan Gustafson, um, Kathleen Doyle. All those girls were drafted, and they all had a hard time sticking. Okay, I believe they all played parts of WNBA seasons, but most of them ended up in the foreign leagues, the European leagues, and those places they played professionally overseas. Megan is back with the Aces, so that's good news. And so we hope that she's able to stick around, and maybe Kate will stick around and just play a role for them, because she is the glue, and maybe she can be the glue to this team. Although they are the two-time defending champions, so it might be a little hard. Um, no, Hawkeye 2017. You haven't missed football yet. That's coming up. After I do some more basketball talk, and then we'll do some football talk. Yeah, because now that basketball season's over, we all want to get into football, don't we? Okay. All right. Okay. And so, anyway, today was Lucy Olson's is visiting today, and the Shearer, I can't remember her first name. She's from Kentucky, I believe. She's a point guard too. Will visit on Thursday. All right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the men's news. I mean, the men's basketball team. We know there's a lot of apathy there. There is no money to get any good players because, I mean, if we let's put it this way: is Drew Thewell from Morehead State, 10 points, 6 assists, rebounds, or Cameron Hunter from Central Arkansas, who didn't play last year because he was injured, with 16.9? Well, that's pretty good. 16.9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Well, actually, almost 4 assists per game, but 28.7% from the 3 point line and 80% from the free throws lines. And he has 2 years of eligibility yet. These guys are coming to visit, and I think Fran's going to hope to get these guys. They're both guards. But are either one of these guys really any better than Tony Perkins? We didn't have money to keep Tony Perkins. Do we have money to bring these guys in? Probably not, which is why we're going after these lower tier players, because they probably just want to get into a Big Ten school or a big Power Five school, soon to be Power Four school, and just prove themselves for the NBA, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. But really, we lost players better than I think we're getting if we get these guys. That's just my personal opinion. Um, we lost Dante Bowen, and honestly, I thought we could Desante Bowen. Honestly, if he had healed, I think we could have. He could have. He shows a lot. He showed a lot of flash and a lot of promise, but he also showed some things that he still needed to work on, which is why Dix kind of came in ahead of him. Okay. So anyway, and I'm looking at the situation like who's gonna who else can we get? Okay. I was thinking that maybe we should look at a post player too, as long as we got room for at least three people, maybe four if Peyton Sanford doesn't come back. But I was thinking like we should probably get another post player. But we have a 7-footer in McKelvey. I can't even say his name. McKelvey, who redshirted this year, the real skinny guy. And I thought for sure he would transfer out. And apparently, if he's not in the transfer portal already, I'm assuming that he's coming back and he's committed to playing the post for us next year. If he can put on more muscle and if he's improved at all during his redshirt year, I've seen him on the sidelines rooting his team on, and he looks happy for rooting his team on. Um, maybe that will solve our post problems for next year. I mean, and he is a true 7-footer, so that's really good. Okay, as you guys know, PMAC went to Butler. That's in Indianapolis. Coincidentally, his brother is in Indianapolis. I guess he does video breakdown. Does video breakdown for the Pacers. So he's in Indianapolis, and you know who's about to move to Indianapolis is Caitlin. So it looks like the brothers and Caitlin will all be together in Indianapolis within a month or so. Okay. I imagine PMAC's going to go through his graduation ceremonies here and then transfer to Butler probably in June and get everything set up. Yeah. Eric, I would agree. I think this is probably the saddest shape we've been in because, we knew that this day was going to come with NIL. We knew that. Fortunately, we were able to get Luca and the Murray twins before NIL became a huge deal. And so, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get that caliber anymore. There's no money. The fans don't care anymore. They quit showing up for the games, and I don't know if that's because the thing is though you got to be excited about how Fran scores 80 points plus a game with this team. Okay, they run up and down on the fast break. As long as they can get a fast break and keep the other team from scoring, and they can get down court and shoot, and don't miss. They got an exciting brand of basketball. So I don't understand the fans not coming. And I realize that the people are worn out on Fran. They really are. They don't care for him anymore. They think it's time to run him off. But remember what happened when the fans started getting apathetic toward Tom Davis and his program because he never could get us past the Sweet 16. And I guess he got us past. He got us to the Elite Eight his first year, but he did that with Raveling's guys. And so, yeah, and that was sad because they came within a whisker of getting to the Final Four. They just blew a huge lead. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I imagine Beth Getz and Fran are going to have some long talks, but Fran has probably done enough that he's not going to get himself fired unless he does something stupid like if he loses his temper at the wrong time in the wrong place. I don't think he'll get himself fired, so he'll have to leave on his terms because he has had plenty of 20-win seasons um, and stuff like that. And okay, and you guys also know that Perkins went to Missouri. Okay, Perkins says in a tweet, or was it Instagram today or last night, that he didn't go because of the money. All right, he didn't go because of the money. But why would you transfer to a Missouri team that didn't win an SEC game all year this year? I think won a total of 8 games all season. All right, that means they didn't go anywhere. They didn't go to the playoffs. Um, they didn't go to the playoffs at all. I guess Tony Perkins said his wallet did his talking when he decided to go to Mitsu. Yeah, I gotta believe that that it's. I still think there was some money involved. Otherwise, why would Fran say that he was worth $500,000? Which I still find that hard to believe that he was worth that much money. You know, but that's what Fran said. He said it publicly. He was worth $500,000. If Missouri gave him that, more power. But I guess Missouri must believe and made him believe that with him at their point, they can win games again and get back to prominence again. And get back to the NCAA tournament. But otherwise, I don't understand. Usually, when you transfer to a team, you transfer up from where you at. Missouri was obviously, even though we had a down year, um, we still, by our standards, Missouri even had a worse year, and so I don't understand his transferring there. But like we said, Iowa basketball doesn't have any NIL money. The attendance is not there, so they don't have anything else to go with. Okay. All right. Let's move on to some football. Okay. Is all the NIL money being spent on football? According to Brad Heinrich of the Swarm, I believe he said that most of the money was earmarked for football. A little bit equally spent. I think he said like 10% for the women's basketball and 10% for the men's basketball. But he said that we don't have the billionaires and the millionaires that bleed black and gold to give us that money. The thing, so that we have, he calls it piecemeal, which means us fans supporting the team, sending our little $25 here or our $50 here that we can afford. Because I mean, if you guys are like me, I can't afford much more than that. But if we all did it, if we all spent $25 in, maybe we can get that money up high enough to help the basketball team. But I gotta believe that people think that by not sending NIL money to the basketball team, by not showing up to the games, that it will lead to Fran's demise. But if you guys look at it this way, if it does lead to Fran's demise, what's going to happen is no other coach is going to want to take his place because of like if we screw over Fran, we don't help him out, we don't go to the attend his games, we don't support the team in any way, shape, or form. Um, that's what's going to happen. In all honesty, that I believe that we're not going to be able to get a decent coach to replace him because one, we don't have the money. Two, the fans have spoken and are apathetic toward the program, and so I don't think a decent coach would come in. We'd probably have to get a Division II coach or something that was excited to jump up to Division 1. Okay. Let me read this one before I post from Llama here. 8 receivers have left the program since 2022. Nice trend. The puppet master will never allow a wide receiver to flourish into his program. I'll put that up. We know who the puppet master is that you're referring to, Llama. So I don't know. Or was it our program? Was it our offense? Because according to the people I heard today speak, that this new offense is more wide receiver friendly. And so, and speaking of wide receivers leaving the program, I guess you all know by now that Jacob Bostic left the program. Yeah, I think he announced it last night, and I just saw it this morning. My question is this: what happened between his interview that everybody has seen on YouTube by now? How happy he was, how much he liked Lester, how much he appreciated what his new wide receiver coach was doing for him, you know, um, and he was just enjoying being healthy for the first spring ever that he could actually get out there and get some work in, and he was just looking to go, um, just be able to have his hot season. And he honestly, this guy had a lot of upside. Okay, yeah, we're gonna answer that one for you, Eric. But anyway, this guy had a lot of upside. Um, okay, okay. So anyhow, Ohio State quarterback. All right, he did play in the Ohio State spring game. I heard that he wasn't. He basically out of 5 or 6 quarterbacks that they had, which they have a lot. Um, he didn't play very well, and he's like the bottom feeder of the quarterbacks on there. And like Hawkeyes 2017 is saying here, it was false. It was just a rumor. And I was just going to say that if you guys watch Mark Rogers, who occasionally does a show with Corey Brada, and I'm pretty sure that some of you watch and know who Corey Brada is, and go to his shows and post game shows and stuff like that. Mark Rogers had some people on from Ohio State who basically were angry and upset that this rumor ever got started. One guy went on a rant and basically blamed Mark Rogers and Corey for starting the rumor. Well, it was already a rumor when they brought it up, and then Corey mentioned on his show, I believe that he talked to somebody who was in the know and said that not necessarily coming to Iowa, but that that the quarterback would be going into the portal looking for a new home. But the person in the know did not say if it was Iowa or not. And Brad Heinrichs got on there and without naming names said that the rumors were a lie. Somebody started a rumor that was a lie because that would be tampering because the portal wasn't open and they couldn't even talk to him before the portal opened. So I wouldn't count on him coming, and I don't know. Would the number 5 or number 6 QB at Ohio State be better than our starting quarterback? Well, he probably better than Drew. I mean, not Drew Deacon. I don't know where I got the name Drew from, but Deacon. In all honesty, but and let's just face it, guys. We all know that Deacon is not a Division 1 quarterback. But he is what they felt was the best option to win last year, and he did go 6-3 in the games he started. He did go 6-3 in the games he started. you know, however, you know, yeah. And Eric, I would agree with you. We do need somebody other than Deacon. Hopefully, guys, get on your hands and knees if you believe in prayer and just pray that Cade's healthy enough to go, healthy enough to play, and stays healthy all season so that we don't have to go to Deacon. Okay. However, that being said, Kirk did say that after spring practice, they will look into the transfer portals and see where they need the most help. I gotta believe from all the pundits that out there, all the people that are the beat writers, from what they're saying that they will be looking for a quarterback. Um, by the way, did you guys know that Oregon quarterback Ty Thompson, they tried to get him on campus in January and he refused to come? I just found out today. I just found out today by reading Hawk Central's article on the quarterback situation at Iowa, which we know is in bad shape right now. We have to have the biggest drop off between Cade and our number 2 quarterback that I've ever seen, and it doesn't sound like Markle is really that great. From the open practices that was here last week, it sounds like that Marco is throwing a bad ball. He throws wobblers and things like that. Um, Although we know he's a good dual threat, but honestly, from what I'm hearing from people who have seen it, not one pundit who's a beat writer has said that they thought um, that Marco was better than Deacon. Okay, and so, but you guys will have a chance to find out on Saturday if you go to the spring game. I won't get to. I'm just going to wait for Hawk Fanatic Rob Howe to release all of his video like he does every year, and I'll judge for myself after I look at the video. But sometimes, those are in situations where you're not being rushed. Um, you're not really being guarded, blocked. The receivers aren't being blocked. Okay. Dean, be better than this. It's what Kay has told the media to say. Llama. Um, you really think that he's releasing what he wants the media to think? Okay, to say. I don't think he's telling Chad, say this or you don't get a pass next year to come to any press conferences. I think what he's doing is between his coaches and stuff. He's force feeding. He's force feeding what he wants us to hear right now, and that's any coach. Any coach will do that, right? Right? Any coach will do that. Okay. All right. So some of the things is I just wanted to bring up. Did you guys know that Carson May was back in the portal? He went in the portal last year, went to Wyoming, and now he's back in the portal. Apparently he wasn't happy at Wyoming. I wonder if um well, let's bring this up real quick. It clears the way for Deacon to be QB1 when Cade goes down. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We are all hoping that. There isn't a Hawkeye fan out there that's hoping that Cade goes down. We all want Cade to stay healthy all season and play like he's healthy. Because as we know last year, he never played a game healthy. He tried to force it. And I think this year, Cade's not going to get away with fooling the coaches or his trainers. Because it was obvious from game one that he wasn't ready to go. And then when he said it in the Penn State game that was the best he ever felt, and he went down, boom, early in the game. Well, that told you everything you needed to know. Okay. So okay, Ari. Hi, Ari. Good to see you, Ari. All right. So what was I saying about oh yeah, about okay, so do you guys think that if they could go back after May, Carson May, and bring him back? You think they would? Probably not. And I don't know if he'd come back because I heard that he didn't leave on good terms. Okay, so I don't know that for a fact though, but that's what I've been told. Okay, our new punter, Arise Dakin, guys. What do you think about him? I heard he's nailing 50-yard punts in practice. If that's the case, we're in good shape. Okay, but I mean, there's a lot of interview stuff out there. A lot of it. There's nothing really newsy coming out of it. They interviewed Nick Jackson, Drew Stevens, Jaden Harrell, Caleb Johnson, Curry Moulton. But the thing I thought that Caleb and Curry Moulton said, because those guys are both running backs, and they said that a lot of the motion that they're practicing right now, it ends up freezing the defense, especially on the second level, because the kind of motion that they're doing is not as predictable as what's been in the past. So these guys don't actually know anymore what's coming, and so they're confusing the defense a little bit. And they're saying they're loving this. They're loving this new offense. All I keep hearing is they're loving this offense. So, as us as fans, will we notice a huge difference? Yeah. Will we notice a huge difference come our first game? I don't know if we will or not. I remember being told last year that our offense was going to look different because of last year, and when they came out, it was the same old crap. And so, it'll be interesting to see what our offense will look like. I can't wait. I know you guys can't wait, and hopefully, it puts some points on the board that I feel good if we can just put some points on and be an average offense. I feel good with our defense and with our new punter that we should be in pretty decent season. Okay, Caden Proctor thing was a ridiculous. Yes, it was. I don't know what got into him. Obviously, he went on vacation with his Alabama buddies, and then was talked into by his buddies coming back, and so I don't even know if he. You can't really in college in the middle. You can't really drop your classes in the middle of the semester and then go re-enroll in another college in mid-semester. Nobody's going to let you do that. So I have to assume that he's finishing out classes at Iowa before he goes back to Bama. So the thing he should have done was waited to go back into the transfer portal until now, and stuck with the team and practiced with the Iowa team. He may have found because he never got a chance to practice with the team and do workouts with them. So he may have found he might have liked it. Okay. Okay. All right. Guys, I'm glad you're asking a lot of questions. Okay. Iowa will play Bama in the first round of the playoffs this season. Would Bama be number 1 and Iowa number 12? Or would I don't know how the playoffs going to work. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I honestly, looking at the schedule, I only see for one for sure loss on the schedule for next year, and that's Ohio State. We're still not there. We're still not in their wheelhouse. But hey, as we know, our 2017 team, which wasn't one of our best teams, managed to find a way to defeat Ohio State, and pretty easily, because as we all call it now, the woodshed game. So never say never, but that was in Iowa City, and I don't know. The last time we played Ohio State last year, we went to Ohio State. Now we're returning back to Ohio State, and I thought it was a home and home thing, but apparently Ohio State gets the advantage because they're Ohio State. But anyway, there's a lot of people picking them 1 or 2 in the preseason polls, and so if they can get their quarterback things straightened out, it sounds like they're going to just be one hell of a team. But honestly, could any of us quarterback that team with all the running back talent they got, the wide receiver talent they got? Maybe we could just quarterback. All we got to do is get the ball to one of those guys, and let them make the plays. Okay. But yeah, like I said, I only saw one game where Iowa could possibly lose. But I don't know. I mean, we've got Wisconsin, an up and coming, improving team. Changing their offense and stuff, and they showed at the end of the year that they were looking pretty tough. I'm not sure where Nebraska is, but I'm going to assuming with the coach they got and the changes that they're making that they will also be improved. Maybe looking at a bowl game for the first time in a many, many, many years. Okay. So that, and then Northwestern's coach, I'm really impressed with him. I think he's got that team. He got that team improved too. He did a heck of a job last year of getting that team, and thinking all the things that went on, the players that they lost, the players that decommitted from them, the players who weren't as talented as the people, probably the people who left. He got them believing they could win games. I think the way their season started, it looked pretty poor, but once he got a hold of them and convinced them that they could play with people and win, they did it. They went out there and they did it. They really did. Okay. So, but anything else on the football you guys want to talk about? Ari's got us winning 23-20 over Bama in overtime. And it looks like, I imagine the F means a field goal. So yeah, I'm not ready to predict yet. I want to see what we got on our roster first and make sure we got a decent QB. 23 points for Iowa in the last 2 years would be a lot of points. Seeing how we didn't average over 17 the last 2 years. So Iowa scoring 23 points. My God, that would be great. All right. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit too about well, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have it here. Oh, here we go. How much you guys? We can still talk football if you guys want to. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the men's wrestling and what's going on there. First of all, we got a new commit to the 24 class. His name is Otto Black. He's from Park, Colorado. He would be the 141, 149 pound area. He's a state champion. And he was a teammate to another commit, Lester Bowling, who was also a state champ at 175 last year. He's going to be he's going to be in the 2025 class. Lester Bowling is, and Otto Black will be in the 2024 class. It appears that wrestling is going to be better next year, from what I can say. But also they got this name Leo DeLucia at 120, coming from New Jersey. He's a national prep wrestling from the National Prep Wrestling Championships. He plays second. And I just wanted to point out that in the Olympic trials, we've got Spencer Lee, who's a pre-seed number 4. Jared, you missed all the football talk, but we'll still talk football if you throw out some questions for football and men's and wrestling. I mean, the men's and women's basketball. I'm working on men's wrestling right now, and I noticed a huge drop off in people watching the show when I brought up wrestling. So I might not want to do that anymore. Yeah, they got a great recruiting class. I didn't write that down, but like I was just talking about one that just got for 2024 Otto Black. And then Lester Bowling is in this 2025 class, as is Leo DeLucia from New Jersey. But we're going to talk about the. I wanted to say something about, we got some Hawkeyes in the Olympic trials going on, and that's we got Spencer Lee. He's a pre-seed at number 4. Um, and there's another Hawkeye. He's at 57 kilograms. I guess that's called kg. Um, but he's in that, not in his bracket, obviously. I don't think. Thomas Gilman is the 22. I mean, number 2 seed. He is a former Hawkeye, All-American for Iowa. Um, People are saying expect a Lee Gilman final in that one. So they're not giving. I forgot who the number 1 was in that bracket, but obviously they're thinking that Lee will take him down. Okay. And but this is kind of different because right now the United States has not qualified anybody at this weight, 57 kilograms. They have to go through another trial to compete to qualify for USA. So they have to win this. They have to win these trials, and then they have to go and compete to qualify at the USA's at this weight. It's kind of confusing. I was trying to read up on this. Number 1 question for tonight: what can all the other Hawkeye sports learn from Caitlin Clark and the ladies basketball team? Hey, that's a good question. We'll come back to that. Okay. Yeah, I said yeah, this is Spencer Lee's time. He's about as healthy as he can possibly be right now. Yeah. I still think he could have ended up 3rd if he'd not taken the medical hardship at the tournament last year. I just don't think he wanted to wrestle his way back. My personal opinion. But also, hey, let's talk about who else is in the trials that I could find out. Jared might have more that I missed, but we also have Alex Martinelli. He's seated 8th at 74 kilograms, and Tony Cassiope also seated 8th at 97 kilograms. So those were the only 4 former Hawks that I saw um, in the seedings when I went through. So good luck to the Hawkeye wrestlers, and I hope I said Alex Martinelli. I said Alex. Um, okay. Mayface Jordan Boros. That could be, yeah, that could be. Okay, guys, I don't know how many of you guys watched any women's wrestling this year. I myself didn't watch a lot. I caught just a little bit because it wasn't on TV much. There wasn't a lot to do, but our women who finished as national champs this year, wrestling team. I don't know if you guys root that, but at the women's national championships, um, we had 2 under 20 titles go to 2 of our girls, Brianna Gonzalez at 53 kilograms and Reese Laramendi at 65 kilograms. Okay. So those 2 finished number 1, and they automatically qualify, I believe, for the no, I'll take that back. That's something different. Okay. Sterling Diaz at the under 23. She was at She's at 50 kilograms, and she made it to the finals. She finished 2nd, but Um, she also lost to a girl by name of Heather Kroll out of Indiana, and I guess on the finals it's a best 2 out of 3, and she lost twice, 10-3 and 10-0 to that girl. Nyla Valencia, who is a red shirt, she made it to the finals of the U20 and 50 kilograms, but lost to Anna Falcon of California, 14-6 and 10-0. Okay, and then there's a redshirt freshman, Ella Schmidt, lost to Laramendi in the finals. So we had another Hawkeye in the finals against Laramendi. I noticed in tournaments, I've noticed this has happened quite often, where 2 Hawkeyes will be going against each other, 1 and 2. So they must be able to have at more than 1 weight for women. I mean, yeah, more people at 1 weight, yeah, entered. Okay. Emily Frost, U20 finished at fourth place. Rose Cassiope, who is Tony's sister, finished fifth. Emily Gonzalez, sister to Brianna, finished seventh. All in the U20. In the U23, Emily Pottenude, I can't say that right, finished fifth. We had two finalists at each weight qualify for world team in Spain in September. So our two finalists, that's what I was saying, Brianna Gonzalez and Reese Laramendi, qualified for world team in Spain in September. And the U23 champion goes to Colombia in June. Okay. Both Nylan Valencia and Brianna Gonzalez have qualified for Olympic team trials. So that's really good. But let's go back. Long as we go to timing, yeah, we got our women wrestlers at a national champion, and our women basketball players runner up for the second year in a row, with two girls drafted off of that team. That says a lot. That says a lot. By the way, did you guys all notice that Connor was there last night, all dressed up and looking dapper? I might add. Um, yeah, we're starting to lose some people now, but I think because we moved on to wrestling. But let's go back to that question. That okay. All right. Number one question for tonight: what can all other Hawkeye sports learn from Caitlin Clark and the ladies basketball team? Guys, let's hear your answers. Okay, let's hear your answers. Jared, let's hear what you think. You proposed the question. Let's see what you got. Um, so what can they learn? I'm just trying to think right now exactly what we can learn from them. Well, I know one thing is to they can build that team culture of everybody supporting everybody, no matter who the star is. Everybody's there together. They're all friends and encourage. Okay, Jared's first idea out of the box is be aggressive when scoring. I was kind of thinking, on the foundation first. Let's build that camaraderie. Let's build that friendships. Encouraging the girls to study together, play together, whatever they do it together. Um, don't afraid to take shots. Okay. Um, yeah. So far, I like what you got here. That could apply to wrestling because the wrestling could be more aggressive and trying to build their score up and not be afraid to take shots. I understand that sometimes some of our wrestlers went to take a shot and they ended up getting in a takedown against themselves. They were taken down. And football. Well, we got to definitely be more aggressive in scoring. We got to think like Hayden Fry used to, guys. Remember that? Hayden Fry put the metal to the pedal and didn't let up until the last ball or the last clock ticked off to zero. I remember how many scores we just ran up the score on. We used to regularly during Hayden Fry's years run the score up on Iowa State. We run the score up on Nebraska, Northwestern. I remember one year we ran up the score on a good Texas team who didn't even think we should be playing them, and they didn't even. It was in, I think it was in the Freedom Bowl, and they didn't even think they should be in the Freedom Bowl because they were too good for that. And then we just went in and Chuck Long smoked them in a driving rain. Um, so anybody else have any ideas? Let's talk some football, guys. It's going to be football season before we know it. Okay. All right. Don't be down when behind. Iowa women versus opponents like Nebraska, big finals in UConn. Yeah. The one thing I think they learned, I think they learned from the first Nebraska loss. The Nebraska loss. I'm not going to say first. Is that they can't let teams come back on them. I believe Ohio State came back on them after they had a double-digit lead. They had a double lead on Northwestern, and I believe by their own words, and I think there might have been another game on that happened, maybe Kansas State the first time, is that they let those teams back in the game because they took the pedal off the they took the metal off the pedal or whatever you want to call it. They took the hammer off. And that was their own words. They kind of went into They went into cruise control and didn't realize that they have to finish what they started. That these teams were capable of coming back on them. Kansas State in their loss to Kansas State that happened, and their loss to Ohio State that happened, in their loss to Nebraska that happened. And the Indiana game, I don't remember much about that. You guys can help me out on that one. Oh yeah, and trust in the game plan. Yeah, good idea. Good idea because these girls trusted in their game plan when they got down. Like we see them get down against, UConn. We saw them get down against Virginia Tech. Not although not by very much. You know, against going up against those schools, they just felt like they could win the game. They never felt like they could not win. Even though some of us fans were getting worried and biting our fingernails, thinking, "Oh no, the run's going to be over here." But no, they did it. Even with LSU, I believe LSU. That game too. We came out. I think we took it out in the fourth quarter. Was it the fourth quarter that we finally took over the game? Well, we actually took it over in the third quarter, but we needed that to come back to tie the end of the third quarter, and then we came back and we just continued. We continued making strides. We continued working on making more strides in that fourth quarter, and so yeah, if it weren't for taking over in the third quarter, the fourth quarter might not have happened the way it did. So yeah, trust the coaches. Yeah, trust the coaches. We need to trust the coaches. Always trust the coaches because they know what they're doing. You know, um, Lisa and Jan have been doing these for years, and it looks like the coaches that they've got surrounding them too are doing a very good job. It sounds like their scout is doing very good, and I like what something Lisa did. She has faith in her coaches that if that when they lost certain games, like last year, I can't remember which coach had the scout for the South Carolina game. Last year we won. She just put her right back in charge of that scout this game, but unfortunately, South Carolina just had too much for us to handle this year. And so that's like going there. Eric says that women's basketball is here to stay. Guys, I honestly think, and God, I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're going to have a slight drop off next year, unless we can get a Lucy Olson in here or something. I think we're going to have a slight drop off in next year, just because of the. I'm not saying we're going to be bad, but I'm thinking with the 5 freshmen coming in, we've got to integrate them in. We've got a new post coming in next year who's going to have to take some of the pressure off of and Hannah Stokey next year. The post will have to, and I think what else I want to say? Um, oh yeah, and of course we need a new point guard and a regular guard. So I was thinking, Sydney a Falter could come out and play the 3 or 4 next year, depending on if Addie can come in next year and give us some solid minutes, and AJ Edginger can come in and give us some solid minutes, and then during those times, I'd like to see them play in the same time with Hannah on the floor playing the 4. Because she's really not a post player, although she's really improving and she's really doing well. And I'm really, really been impressed from her free throw shooting from the beginning of the year to where she finished at the end of the year with her free throw shooting. And that girl never looked upset. She always had a smile on her face, always laughing, and that's just something you just don't see all the time because you're used to seeing Caitlin Clark scowling and sometimes yelling at her teammates and got that competitive look on her face. And then there's Hannah always smiling. I'm gonna slam dunk on you today and lay a ball in on you today, but I'm gonna smile while I do it. you know, how nice is that? Okay. All right. Remember, coaches have their own experiences, even Fran, Tom, and Kirk. Um, yeah. Honestly, guys, I'm mixed with Fran on his coaching. Okay. Um, he did a great job of getting Luca and the Murrays there, and Jordan Bohannon was there during those years. Yet we couldn't get out of the first weekend when we had those guys. Um, I think only once did we make it to a second game during that time. Okay, um, during those years, but most of them we were one and done, and and it just confuses me. With that kind of talent, and don't forget we had Weisskopf at that time too. Why couldn't we get beyond? Why couldn't we get beyond the first weekend? All the fans really wanted was to get beyond the first weekend. Of course, they'd want more if you consistently went beyond the first weekend. Then they want you to get to the third weekend, the Final Four weekend, right? Okay. Um. Yeah. Okay. A non-Hawkeye newsworthy mention. Yeah, that's kind of Hawkeye related though, because John Smith as a wrestler and a coach has given Iowa fits over the years. He's retiring. Gosh, golly. I think at some point when you get older as a wrestling coach, you have to retire because you can no longer get out there and get on the mat with those guys and show them a thing or two. Okay. Fran needs to coach some defense. As long as Fran is at that school, there's never going to be any defense better. He likes shooters. He likes high offense. His idea to win is to get down and you want the other team to work the ball around and miss their shots. We rebound, we run down on a fast break, score quick. Okay, then they come back, and then you hope they do it again, or you get a steal or something, and then you run down um and score again. And before you know it, you've scored maybe 10 points on them before they got one or something. You did a nice run on them. That's how Fran likes to coach. And if you notice, these guards he's bringing in are shooters. Shooters. I don't know if they're defenders or not, but they are shooters. And so Fran likes shooters. He likes people who can shoot the ball. And this year we lived and died by the three. Okay. And so that's just the way it was. Okay. But yeah, I don't think Fran will ever coach defense. I don't think we're ever going to get defensive minded until Fran decides it's time to move on and we bring in a new coach who believes in a little bit of defense. Even our women were starting to play defense, and Lisa's teams have always knock on Lisa's teams have always been that they didn't play good defense either. And this year they came out and they committed themselves to defense, and they didn't do too bad. Okay. Do you like the new OC? Well, right now I'm going to say the new OC. I don't know much about him, but I do like the fact that the players like him. The players like him. They like what he's doing, and so us as fans, we're just going to have to wait and see once the games start playing again. Once we start playing games, and to see if we like what he's doing, and what he's doing is it good enough to win? And since he is also our QB coach, is he developing our quarterbacks? That's something we haven't done in the past, is develop quarterbacks, especially under Brian, because Brian is not a quarterback coach. He's never played the position. He doesn't understand the position. Okay. And so he wasn't going to develop any quarterbacks. Okay. Is the transfer portal hurting Iowa? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Um, Especially in basketball right now, it's hurting. And so we don't lose a lot of players to the transfer portal. I mean, in all honesty, we don't. Um, but I don't think we don't. Except with the exception of football last year and all the portal people they brought in. You know, um, I was never done more than one or two portal players a year or transfers per year. This year they're going to have to go out and try to find some people. And this is when people are going to start jumping in. Like you're going to start to see probably after Saturday, now that the portal's open, and it's only after Saturday, and it's only open until April 30th. So they got 3 days to get in the portal, but you probably are going to see some more Iowa people jump in the football portal, for sure, because they got to do it quickly. So we'll know within the first couple of days after Saturday, what's going on. So, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the calendar wrong. Saturday is the 20th, huh? Okay. So Saturday is the 20th. By the way, I got my 2024 calendar up, and my April football player from the Hawkeyes is number 16, CJ Beathard. And yeah, so every year I get a new calendar for my Hawkeye room here. Um, okay, Jared says, I think in the past, if an athlete transferred, they lose a year of eligibility. That was correct. In the past, that was true. Tom Ryan, OSU wrestling coach, talked about it when he went to Iowa. Gable didn't know I was live at the time. um, hmm. Wonder what he meant by that. Is that because he had to sit out a year or something? They I don't think they lost a year of eligibility unless, of course, they didn't have a redshirt year left. I think they sat out a year, but they could use that as a redshirt year, I believe. Um, I don't know. I'll have to go back. I mean, that's been a long time since we've actually done that. Do you guys remember when the transfer portal started? It was just for graduates. Um, that's just for graduates. Um, Graduates only, and now it can be anybody. Anybody can transfer through the portal. Between the portal and the NIL, it's ruining college sports, guys. But guys, look at my age. I'm 67, almost 68, and I'll tell you right now, college sport anywhere close to what I imagined it should be anymore. It has changed so much. Has it changed for the good? No. Were some of the changes necessary? Probably. I am convinced that the players always should have gotten some kind of a compensation. But I always thought it was, name, image, and likeness. I always thought it was you get compensated if your name shows up on your image shows up on a image and name shows up on a video game, or if you're doing a commercial for a local car dealer, you get compensated for that. I never imagined that it turned out to what it turned out to be. Basically a pay for play, and the rich schools who have the money get the best players, and um, so far, I don't think the NIL has affected Iowa that much. My understanding is that all those defensive players that we re-signed that could have gone to the NFL or gone in the transfer portal and went to a different team, every one of them had a better offer for money to go elsewhere, but they chose to bring their talents back to Iowa for one more year. And yes, the NIL was involved in that. And if you didn't think, they didn't come back for free, but they didn't get as much as they would have if they would have gone and played for another school. And that shows you how well respected our guys are. So, what would I like to see changed as of now? I don't know if you can put the horse back in the corral after he left. Um, Shoot, I would like to see the NIL to become what it's really supposed to be for. Um, you know, stuff like doing a commercial or getting your image on a um getting your image on a video game or something like that. I would love to see it be for that stuff like that, but not for I'm going to give you $1 million to come and play defensive end rusher for me this year and get you a new car, because all that stuff was illegal at one time, and now it's legal as hell. And people like Alabama, Georgia, and stuff, and now Arkansas with their guaranteed $5 million a year NIL money for their new coach. th- we can't compete with that, guys. And our basketball team is going to be our men's basketball team for sure is going to be an also ran. I don't know where the women's going to be right now. They've got some outstanding recruits coming in next year, and they got a couple more committed the following year. And they're very close to working on a couple of more to sign to, so or get committed to. So um, they've got some talent coming in. So I don't think the women are going to be as affected yet. And go all right. Okay, Jared said first that the change I would like to see is the transfer miss a year of eligibility. And Eric says I think you should only be allowed to transfer once and that's it. Actually, they had that out there that if you transferred a second time, you actually had to sit out. You unless of course your coach left the school. That was the only way that you could have immediate eligibility on your second transfer. And some lawsuits popped up, and so now that's been put on the back burner. So the NCAA is not going to get their way on that one. And so, but yeah, you know, it should be once and done. You know, Eric May's he's going in the transfer portal for the second time. I think we had a couple of our own Hawkeyes who left, went in the transfer portals a second time. So, thank you. So anyway, man, this has been really good, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. As long as you keep them coming, we'll stay here and do this. Okay. Okay. Wrestler Austin Gomez transferred 3 times. Um, Refresh me. Who was he and who did he wrestle for 3 times? 3 separate people, obviously. Was Iowa one of them? Okay, nobody's. I was just kind of waiting for. Um, Guys, I'm gonna do this text real quick. Do this. Okay. All right. Joe Trisant transferred 3 times. Did he? Did he? Gosh, Eric. I know who would he play for this year. I heard he kicked some tail this year. He played really well. I think he played for what is it, Virginia Tech or West Virginia before that. Michigan, Wisconsin, and ISU for Jared on my 3 schools that he wrestled for. Hey, also, there's a guy named TJ Bowler, who's at Wisconsin, is going in the transfer portal. He's from the Iowa City area, was a former 4-star recruit, has now gone in the transfer portal or will be from Wisconsin. Can you guys tell me who he is and what position he plays? I recognize the name, but I haven't had time to Google him because I had to come on here when I found that out. And so, if anybody could tell me about TJ Baller from Wisconsin in the transfer portal, it seems to me like if he's from the Iowa City area, I believe Clear Creek, Amana is where he's from. Um, maybe he can come home to Iowa. He's a football player that I know. So if you guys know anything about him, let me know. Um, okay. Yeah. So all right. You guys have done some good questions here. You guys posted a lot today. Um, okay, every one of you guys that are still here, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. But do the like button for sure. It'll help me get me some more what do they call that? Algorithms or something. Let's try to get this thing pumped up. All right, I want to really get it pumped up. Okay, and so I forgot where I was going with all this. Anyway, oh yeah, I want you guys to think. Tell me what you think Iowa's record will be next year. Just for fun, real quick. Type it in. Everybody, type in your prediction for next year for football. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I do appreciate you guys tuning in, and I think we peaked out at 12 actual people at one time. Um oh, and any baseball softball news. I know that the baseball team lost 2 out of 3 to Ohio State over the weekend, and they lost 2 out of 3 to whoever they played the weekend before. Um they're not having a great year. They are really down this year, and part of their problem is, guys, is Brody Breck. His pitcher, the pitcher for the baseball team, is giving up a lot of. I think he went in one time and they had a 3-0 lead in, and pretty soon he was trailing like 7-3 or something like that. He has a 9 ERA. I mean, who has a 9 ERA? maybe he should stop thinking about baseball and maybe come back to the team as a wide receiver because everybody knows. Yeah. Okay. Who should the starting quarterback be? Well, let's hope it's Cade and not Deacon. Is Cade healthy? Not yet. Um, the only thing he's doing in practice is he's taking some snaps, but he's not moving, and he's just throwing some soft passes. Soft passes. They say he should be fully ready to go, full throttle in June. That's what Kirk's saying. So that probably means to me we probably won't be full throttle until July or August because whatever Kirk says, it never happens. Okay, Eric's got 12-1 with a win in the playoffs. Okay, so is the one loss a loss in the playoff then? So you have us going 12 and that doesn't compute. It doesn't compute because you got us a win in the playoffs. So you only have us for 12 wins overall. So we'd have to have another loss to make that work for you with a win. Um, so here's what I'm going to say, guys. Um, I'm going to say, I was going to say 10-2, and I think I'm going to stick with 10-2 in the regular season. Um, I'll worry about playoffs and bowl games when we get there. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Um. Okay. Yeah, I need to look at the schedule, but I'll predict a +7 win season for sure. Yeah. Um. Yep. Lost in the playoffs into Ohio State. I definitely think we lose to Ohio State. I think with Washington going through, they're getting some new players, and their quarterback is going to the NFL draft. Um. Oh, what's that? And so Washington, I think with a new coach and new players and stuff, I think they're vulnerable. I mean, they won't be easy to beat, but I believe we can get them this year. Their first year under their new coach. And they come here, so I think we can get them. We go to UCLA. I believe we can get them at UCLA because also they're under a new coach, and so we can get them. So those are the two Pac-12 teams that we get this year. Ohio State, of course, is a loss. I believe we can beat Minnesota. I know I'm thinking maybe a loss to Wisconsin and a loss to Ohio State in the regular season, guys. I think we can get the rest of our schedule pretty good, pretty solid. So the draft, I believe, is the end of next week. I believe the NFL draft is next week. Yeah, Eric got it right. NFL draft is next week. I don't think because we had all the players come back that could have been draft eligible. I don't think our draft is going to have that many people in it. We should get Cooper drafted. Troy Taylor. I don't know. NFL doesn't usually draft punters. They just usually sign them to a contract, free agent contract. So, but maybe if they want to make sure they get him, how many? I don't even know how many Hawkeyes we got available in the draft. Jared, how many we got? How many we got in the first round, in the first 3 rounds? I think Cooper is late first round, early second round. Troy Taylor, I believe, is going to be signed as a free agent, in my personal opinion. Um, I don't even know who else. You guys have to help me out. Who else is in the draft? So I'm going to say one for now. I'm going to say one. One gets drafted. That's the crazy thing. Usually we know who's draft eligible, but with everybody who came back this year, that was draft eligible, and probably could have got drafted at some point. I think this is going to be a down year for the Hawkeyes in the draft, but next year should be lights out. I mean, because we're probably going to have several people. I mean, I know of probably like at least 6 or 7 that head for the draft next year, and then maybe even more. But right now, I got 6 or 7 headed that way. And so, and most of them are defenders. But who wouldn't want our defenders as well as they play? Just think about that. Cooper moved up after his pro day, maybe top 15. So he's completely healthy then, huh? Gosh, I hope he is. I hope he is. I just don't want Cooper to go to someplace like the Packers. I would love for him to come to San Francisco, but there's no way if he's a top 15 pick that he's going to be around when the 49ers get to pick. Shoot. That means he's going to go to some team I don't want him to play. He won't go to the Vikings either, obviously, because Vikings they're not in the top 15 of the draft. I don't believe. Who do you guys want Cooper to go to? Who are you guys thinking anyway? Anybody? Coop? I wish we had him back for next year. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with the 49ers winning the Super Bowl next season. Who do you think will be there? Who do you think they'll beat? Kansas City? Buffalo? Who are some of the contenders that normally would be there? Cooper to the Redskins. Do you like the Redskins? They're not called the Redskins anymore, are they? Steelers are looking at him. Okay. All right. That'd be kind of cool. He won't have to change colors. His colors will be the same. I really like Coop and what he can bring. So some of the teams I don't want to see him go to Green Bay because I don't like Green Bay. Um, although I do hope their quarterback Jordan Love does very well for Green Bay. But I don't like Green Bay. And Jordan Love is his hometown is where I currently live in Bakersfield. And so that's one of the big reasons why I would support Jordan Love from the Green Bay. But Dallas Cowboys are another team I don't want to see him end up at because I don't want to see guys I like playing for teams I don't like because I want to root against those teams, you know? And so, but I would root for him I would definitely root for the Steelers if the Steelers had him. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not a big Washington fan either. They're not called Redskins anymore, right? You guys are playing with me here. Yeah, because for a long time I think they were just the Washington team. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Jared, for the laugh. Yeah, I understand that. It's like X, formerly Twitter, to me will always be Twitter. It'll always be Twitter. I'm gonna call it Twitter. I'm not gonna call it X. Um, you know, Steelers pick 20th though. They could trade up though, Eric. Have no fear. If they really want, if they're looking at him and they want him, they'll figure a way to trade up to get him. I just don't know how far. Who's at number 15 pick then? Um, if they're more likely, I mean, has a chance at him? Realistic chance at him then? Okay, um, guys, this has been it's been really good. I feel like that you guys have really done. Jimmy Johnson is a heck of a coach. Jimmy Johnson doesn't coach anymore, does he? Does he? You guys are playing with me, I think. Because I think Jimmy Johnson retired from the Cowboys years ago. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, guys. Um, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, we peaked out at 12 viewers at one time, and several of you are just keeping this fun going for us. And so, I didn't think I'd be on this long tonight, but I guess I am. But I think it is time to bring it to an end and call it good. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. And those of you watching the replay, same thing. Subscribe, like, share it, and then leave a comment. I'll come back later and get your comments. Watch it closely or listen to it closely and answer some of the questions that we threw out there tonight. Okay. Jared did a great job. Thank you, Jared, for bringing some of those questions to us tonight, and some of your responses were really good. And thank you for some of your wrestling updates. I can always depend on you for the wrestling updates. And so All right. Alrighty, guys. I think it's time to get out of here. I'm going to end the stream. I appreciate you guys, and please, please, please smash that subscribe button, like, and share. Thank you.